I've been in discussions with CEOs and men and women who lead companies who have told me when I see a resume that includes experience in the Peace Corps, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get somebody who has the mental, the social, and the physical agility to adapt to changing conditions and circumstances. And those are major qualities that are required in the business world in the 21st century.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Well, in 1961, President Kennedy established the Peace Corps through an executive order that called for establishing an agency that would be dedicated to promoting global peace and friendship.
This Corps will be a pool of trained men and women sent overseas by the United States government to help foreign countries meet their urgent needs for skilled manpower. They will live at the same level as the citizens of the country which they're sent to, doing the same work, eating the same food, speaking the same language. We're going to put particular emphasis on those men and women who have skills in teaching, agriculture, and in health.
Almost 45 years later, the Peace Corps continues to build upon the vision of President John F. Kennedy. To date, over 170,000 volunteers have served in 135 countries, allowing the Peace Corps to achieve a number of important goals.
It has put a face on America. Secondly, it has helped promote cross-cultural understanding. We have come to know the world a little better, and the world has come to know us a little better.
Peace Corps volunteers contribute in unaccountable ways to the countries to which they're assigned.
In addition to agriculture and health, today's Peace Corps volunteers teach in areas of computer technology and entrepreneurship.
I help to train them in computer skills, computer competency, and then over the course of the last year, they have been picking up those skills, and now they are managing this resource center by themselves.
You'd think it would be hard to get people to join the Peace Corps. After all, the minimum commitment is 2 years. You're not allowed to choose your location. You might live in an area with no electricity or running water. You're paid little to nothing, and you work extremely hard. Yet, despite this, volunteerism is at a 30-year high. Why do people join? Well, the Peace Corps offers you the chance to truly make a difference in the world.
The best job I ever had was being a Peace Corps volunteer, being of service, living in another land, learning another language, and coming back with what I learned.
There are many former Peace Corps volunteers who are currently in business. I'm thinking of the founder of the Nature Company, the founder of Netflix. I'm thinking of Bob Hawes, who is the chairman of Levi Strauss.
The Peace Corps demonstrates how culture pertains to international business every day. Volunteers must not only have factual knowledge of their local areas, they must also be attuned from a cultural standpoint. The concept of culture is so broad that even cultural anthropologists have to break it down into topics. As a general rule, the components consist of aesthetics, attitudes and beliefs, religion, material culture, education, language, societal organization, legal characteristics, and political structures. Let's take a look at a few of these components. For example, one of the attitudes and beliefs that may apply to business people in a foreign country is the concept of time. Specifically, time as it relates to relationships and conducting business. Upon arriving in new countries, many Peace Corps volunteers have found that they must first form relationships in order to gain acceptance.
You're an American. You've arrived into the village, you've arrived in the community, and in some countries, building that relationship is more important than the business relationship.
When volunteers succeed in building strong relationships, the results are usually obvious.
A lot of these communities are so proud of their Peace Corps volunteer. This is our Peace Corps volunteer. There's so much pride in what they've done, what the Peace Corps volunteer has done there, what they've built together as a community.
Another attitude that business people and Peace Corps volunteers must recognize and react to are attitudes towards change.
In some countries, change is slower. Change is evolving. Some volunteers have commented to me who come from particular urban areas who are used to a very fast pace of doing business, of getting people motivated to jump on the bandwagon to achieve a certain outcome.
Technology, which by this definition also includes skills in marketing, management, and finance, is an aspect of material culture which may be lacking in certain overseas markets.
My experience with volunteers has been that some of them encounter a much more limited scope of marketing and advertising and outreach and the kinds of things that we have come and grown accustomed to in the United States.
Therefore, by applying various technologies, savvy volunteers and by extension everyday business people can find opportunities to help people to bring their products to the next level.
One is that comes to mind most recently in Thailand, where we worked or watched a woman volunteer work with a group of women in a rural village who are growing peanuts, who are now packaging roasted, honey roasted, salted peanuts that are going to market in packaging with logos, with the kinds of things that were not previously available. It's improving their economics, it's improving their productivity, it's improving the visibility and exposure of their product, and it's a win-win for the volunteer, it's a win for the local community. In Peru, where artisans who have developed weave products for generations. And initially, when the volunteer first arrived in that village, it was one machine, one loom that was being used to produce products. But as a result of a business strategy, the products are now, wall hangings and others, are being now sold on a much wider market. And the consequence of that is they've gone from 1 to 10 looms. Well, put those multipliers there, and you're talking about jobs, you're talking about opportunity, you're talking about economic growth and expansion that would not have existed otherwise. So there are many, many examples of Americans working overseas and making a remarkable impact on local communities.
Language is probably the most significant barrier for most people working overseas. And although English is becoming more common when conducting business, the seller who speaks the local language has an obvious competitive edge. What might surprise most people about the Peace Corps is that you don't have to speak a foreign language in order to join.
You don't have to know a foreign language to be in the Peace Corps. We will teach you that. Once you are a Peace Corps trainee, you go over to the host country, and for about 9 to 12 weeks, you're living with a host country family. You're placed with a family, so you start learning the language through your everyday interaction with them. So you're kind of put in a position where it's all coming right at you. You're also doing language training classes right then. We teach safety and security in country, communications, backup systems, different things like that, cross-cultural traditions and awareness. So you're really becoming part of the community while you're living with this host family. And you're also learning with other trainees at the same time.
It's interesting to look at cultural components from the perspective of both Peace Corps volunteers and international business people, especially when factoring in an America which is increasingly diverse.
And that's important because there are many countries in the world that have a certain image of what an American is supposed to look like, and it's not me. And people are coming to understand that America is a place of people with different origins, different backgrounds, different faiths, and in some cases finding that faiths are of common interest, that ethnic origin is of common interest, whether it's a Hispanic American serving in Central America or South America or a Chinese American serving in China. We are putting a face on America that I think will prove to be positive, will be productive in the 21st century.
For Gadi Vasquez, the issue of an increasingly diverse America is not only significant in terms of his job, it's also a source of great personal pride. See, Gadi is the son of migrant workers from Mexico, and growing up, he remembers watching a particular Peace Corps commercial on TV.
Just a few days ago, I was seeing that commercial over again, and came to realize that that commercial is in color, but we didn't have a color TV, so I saw it in black and white. But I was intrigued by the whole idea that you could go overseas and help people. I thought that was just one of the coolest things you could ever do.
Little did he know where his career would eventually lead him.
I grew up in poverty, well below the poverty level. My parents, who never went beyond the 7th grade and who helped shepherd their 2 sons to achieve, and in my case to become the first generation college graduate in my family ever, let alone to then be appointed by the President of the United States to a position of such prestige as the first Hispanic American to ever occupy the office of Director of the Peace Corps. I hope that I can serve as both an inspiration and as a role model to young people and people everywhere. We only, as I like to say, only go around this place one time, and to make a positive mark in collaboration with the volunteers who serve at the Peace Corps and the staff who serve at Peace Corps is a very unique honor and a very unique opportunity.